Putin Bad News Zelensky claims that a weak Putin murdered Prigozhin and now plans to instill fear with nuclear weapons. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed on Friday that Vladimir Putin had Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner mercenary group, killed because Putin is weak, while also predicting that Putin would try to terrorize the West with nuclear weapons. While responding to a question about Putin on Friday at a conference in Kyiv, Zelensky casually mentioned the death of the mutinous warlord. The fact that Putin killed Prigozhin speaks to his rationality and about the fact that he is weak, Zelensky said. When asked for evidence that his Russian counterpart was responsible for the mysterious plane crash outside Moscow last month, in which 10 people died, including Prigozhin and his second-in-command, the Ukrainian president provided none. According to the Kremlin, claims that Putin was responsible for the deaths of the Wagner Group's top brass and their associates are an absolute lie. The Russian Investigative Committee is looking into the plane crash, and they aren't ruling out deliberate wrongdoing as a possible cause. Prigozhin's death occurred exactly 2 months after he led a brief revolt against Russia's military brass, which led Putin to label him a traitor. Zelensky said that Putin has been deflated as a person and a politician during Friday's press conference at the opening of the annual meeting of the Yalta European Strategy. However, the leader of Ukraine warned that Russian President Vladimir Putin would use Russia's nuclear arsenal to try to instill fear in the West this upcoming winter, while also continuing to inflict suffering on Ukrainians in the same way he did last year. Your thoughts? Make a remark. According to Zelensky, Putin will put pressure on the West, and, above all, on the United States, as they will also be at a fragile time, as this is an electoral time, referring to the 2024 presidential elections that will pit President Biden against an as yet unnamed Republican contender. There will be intimidation, but there is a distance between intimidation and action, he continued. It's crucial to keep your cool, in my opinion. On Friday, a Russian missile struck a police building in the central Ukrainian city of Kryvyi Rih, the interior minister reported, killing 1 police officer and injuring many others. After the attack on Volodymyr Zelensky's hometown, Ihor Klimenko reported on Telegram that the administrative building had been destroyed and that rescue workers had pulled several people out of the rubble. About 40 people were injured, according to Serhiy Lysyk, governor of the region. Klimenko claims that 3 people were killed and 4 others were injured in an airstrike by Russia on the village of Odrodokamyanka near Kherson in southern Ukraine on Friday. Russian President Vladimir Putin is to blame for the death of mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, according to Volodymyr Zelensky. At a conference in Kyiv on Friday, the Ukrainian president said, "The fact that he, Putin, killed Prigozhin, at least that's the information we all have, not any other kind. That also speaks to his rationality, and about the fact that he is weak." The Ukrainian leader offered no proof for his claim that Prigozhin was killed in a plane crash with his top lieutenants last month. The UK government has announced that the military and security services of the country will be keeping a close eye on the Black Sea in an effort to deter Russia from attacking grain ships travelling from Ukraine to developing countries. More than a dozen Danish, German, and Dutch Leopard 1 tanks are on their way to Ukraine, the Danish armed forces announced on Friday. Foreign Ministry of Ukraine condemns sham elections being held by Russia in occupied Ukrainian territories on Friday, calling them worthless and having no legal standing. Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson are 4 regions of Ukraine that Moscow does not fully control, but they are all participating in the Russian regional elections. Also calling the elections in Russian-occupied parts of Ukraine sham elections, and illegitimate, was U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Volodymyr Zelensky claimed that slower arms shipments from the West were endangering his counteroffensive, prompting him to demand larger, more effective weapons. The Ukrainian president also claimed that Ukraine's allies had relaxed sanctions against Russia, and he urged a fresh push to impose even more severe measures against Moscow.